It was important to us to really show that this, especially given the events of episode 4, you know, the kind of moment before the clarity that we see in terms of the really clear divisions between the good guys and the bad guys. There's a kind of gray area that Rogue One is trying to sort of capture.
I guess it's like a lot of conflicts that happen, modern day conflicts, where the lines are drawn. They're not just like good and bad. There's a lot of different versions of good and bad.
We have Bodhi, who's a cargo pilot, used to be in the Empire, Imperial forces, and he's defected.
He doesn't fit the traditional bill of a Star Wars hero, but he starts the action by doing one of the most heroic things possible, which is making a hard choice. And I think that makes Bodhi really charming and really admirable.
He said I can make it right if I was brave enough to listen to what was in my heart.
I think when you see people wrestle with the question of what they're going to do, and when you see them embrace their own sort of latent heroism, those things feel true to Star Wars.
That's an impounded Imperial ship. What's your call sign, pilot?
It's, Rogue One.
I loved Riz Ahmed in Nightcrawler. And as we were looking for a character for Bodhi Rook, I made sure to throw his name in the hat. He did a few auditions for us. He kept cranking out different versions of Bodhi.
The security checkpoint is still manned. You said the alarm would clear them out.
Well, it should have. They shouldn't. If you would... can you just bluff your way through?
Riz filmed himself. He was in New York. Like, he did a little thing of, like, this is how Bodhi could be.
Ha! What did I tell you? And then, obviously, I started kind of, the obsession starts where you start sending, like, doing 50,000 takes of something because you left to your own devices. Can you not just bluff your way through?
What? You cannot be serious.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're a spy. Do your spy thing. And then he was like, great, we've got what we need. But I didn't stop there. I just carried on recording more takes and just emailing him. I was like, screw it, I've got his email address now. You're a spy, do your spy thing.
He could be like this, or he could be like this, or he could be like this. And it was like, okay, anyway, you've got the part, and then got another, like, 8 clips saying, all this, all this, all this, all this, all this.
Okay, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I was like, okay, I've kind of totally screwed this up now. I'm like spamming the director.
What I love about Riz is he embraced everything in that, like, he's got his funny moments throughout.
What part of urgent message do you guys not understand?
But you also, I think, really feel for him at the end. It really throws you, because you think they're not going to kill this guy. You can't. He's like, he's the guy who makes it out. If anyone's going to make it out in these films, it's always that guy in the lead. And then when that happens, you just go, I don't know how this is going to end now.
I think people know going into this that they're going to get something slightly different. And I think that just adds to that kind of vibe.
3, 2, 1, action!
But something that was quite weird is that my very first week of filming was my entire character's end sequence. So I think on day 2 or 3, I was filming my death scene, which is unnerving as an actor. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, I hadn't done a lot of action before. It was a real learning experience for me, and it was also just so cool. I mean, it's just like being a kid again and playing barricades, you know, and playing cops and robbers. And it really is.
He's really an interesting actor, you know. He seems to have a freshness and a newness to him, you know, that's really alive. He's got, like, an effervescence about him and unpredictability, sort of slightly urban quality.
I have to speak to Saw Gerrera. I have to speak to him before...
I liked working with him, but we didn't have, like, a lot of other conversations outside because I guess I was kind of pretty much in character most of the time.
Saw Gerrera was a character that was in Clone Wars.
Saw is a long-standing Star Wars character who's inhabited the periphery of Star Wars storytelling for a while. He was an idea that came from George.
Because we came into Lucasfilm and found that George had already left some ideas behind, and we thought, well, God, what else could we do? It was Kiri's idea, actually, that it be Saw Gerrera, and that would further legitimize the story inside the stories that had already been told.
Saw Gerrera came to the rebellion early. He was an activist. He's frustrated. The Republic is in disarray and chaos. The Rebel Alliance hasn't really come together in the way that he thought it would.
We see him as a broken person, and you realize this is what a lifetime of fighting the Empire could turn you into.
There's not much of me left.
He's trained in many different types of warfare, guerrilla warfare, as well as practices of the Jedi with Obi-Wan, with Anakin Skywalker. And so he started to like branch off, to start to fight in different ways. He becomes ostracized from the other rebel alliance. They see him as someone who's too extreme. It was interesting for me to try to explore this character, to understand how you can have good reasons for what you're doing, but how that can be twisted and turned when you lose sight of your humanity.
What's always important in Star Wars is that struggle that exists with so many characters between the dark and the light. And that moral ambiguity is something that I think Forrest was attracted to.
My character, in a way, represents that sort of gray area. And I think they try to play around with it even in like my suit and everything like that. Because in my suit, you know, you have a breathing apparatus, and when I breathe into it, it sounds quite like Darth Vader. And so, since I was trained by Darth Vader, or Anakin Skywalker, and then I'm breathing this apparatus, you have to think about, well, what is the movement of where I'm going, you know? And am I stepping into the line of darkness?
I always wanted him to play Saw Gerrera, to the point where I met with him in Los Angeles, and we were showing some artwork, and there was some artwork in there from like 6 months earlier, and it was him. Yeah, normally you'd have to fake that. But I was like, yeah, this proves it, that we've always been wanting Forrest, because there you are, look.
Started my work on the character by going back and looking at the Clone Wars and seeing the character. I talked to Gareth. He had references of modern-day guerrilla fighters. And I had made like a pretty bold choice about the character, the way he speaks, the way he moves.
Are we not still friends?
This sort of very extreme voice and extreme behaviors, you know. And I was doing that with Felicity, trying to connect, you know.
Not a day goes by that I don't think of you.
It's an important scene. They didn't leave on the best terms, but there's a huge affection and there's a huge fondness that they have for each other, but there's a bit of business, there's a bit of housekeeping that they have to sort out.
You care not about the cause.
The cause? All it's ever brought me is pain. Forrest, he brings such humanity to everything he does, and it was very, very special working with him. I really, really enjoyed it.
You must save yourself! Save the rebellion! Save the dream!
I think that Jen's character does represent finding your own sense of purpose in life and following it through. I hope that people believe in the empowerment of themselves. I think people will recognize through the diversity of the casting of the film, with people from all colors and cultures, they come together with one common goal to help humanity. Amazing things can happen through this inclusion and connection.
Thank you.